Board business items number 5 through 9, and the first one is a resolution adopting the Foothill Eastern Board of Directors meeting time change. So, our clerk of the board, Ms. Kathleen Locke, would you please explain to me what we're doing and why we have to do this?
The joint exercise of powers agreements requires a resolution be adopted to amend meeting times for the Foothill, for the agency's board meetings. This resolution will also eliminate the biannual alternating start times, and staff recommends that you adopt resolution number 2014F-05, amending the regular meetings of the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor agencies to be held on the second Thursday of each month of each calendar year to begin at 10:30 a.m. here at the TCA offices.
I'll make a motion to adopt this.
Second. Any discussion? Any questions? All right, may I have a vote, please? All in
Excuse
favor?
me, Rhonda, I do have a question. Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing
Frustrate
it?
you.
Just a question.
Just to make sure that you're late or early, whichever the case.
Well,
Yes.
what we're attempting to do is create a time certain for each of the board meetings. Over the past 6 months, we've had the Foothill Eastern Board here for a joint session, followed by San Joaquin Hill session, and then, often you guys are here for 3 hours waiting for your meeting to occur, and this is to put us on a time certain effort so that going forward, particularly like the Foothill Eastern only members in San Joaquin, you can be here at 10:30 and your meeting's going to start from close to that, as opposed to following the previous meeting, which sometimes can be two hours or more.
Well, Mike, how does that address the joint meeting issue that you brought up there? When we're going to have joint meetings,
Right.
when are they going to be?
Then we will schedule those as special board meetings between the two, and we will make each of the 3 meetings special and adjust the times for that as well.
With notification.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? No? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Mhm.
Second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay. Item number 6, the agreement terminating the mitigation payment and loan agreement. Hi, Amy.
Good morning. This item is a recommendation to approve an agreement to terminate the existing mitigation payment and loan agreement and provide for payments from San Joaquin Hills to this agency. This agreement is beneficial for both agencies and will allow the San Joaquin Hills to move forward with their refinancing transaction. The key provisions of this agreement include the effective date, which would be concurrent with San Joaquin's refinancing transaction. And if San Joaquin were not to close their transaction by July 1st, 2015, the mitigation payment and loan agreement as it exists today would not be terminated. $120 million of mitigation payments would be repaid to this agency by the San Joaquin Hills. Those payments would begin to accrue interest on the date that this agreement becomes effective, which is the date that San Joaquin refinances their transaction. It will be accrued at the California Pooled Money Investment Account interest rate. The payments would begin January 15th, 2025, due annually each January 15th until paid. They would be paid out of San Joaquin surplus revenues at 50% of that surplus revenue. And the San Joaquin may make optional prepayments without penalty at any time. San Joaquin will also continue to support this agency's system enhancements. So the impacts on this agency are that this agency receives $120 million of mitigation payments repaid. And they will be paid back earlier than if they were to convert to a repayment obligation under the existing agreement and San Joaquin were not to refinance. As part of San Joaquin's refinance transaction, they will be implementing a 1.3 times debt service coverage on their senior lien debt, which ensures that they will have surplus revenues if they're meeting their covenants. which then gives you the comfort that you will be paid back. Also, as part of this agreement, the loan obligation that this agency has to loan up to $1 billion to the San Joaquin Hills is terminated. This will result in positive credit enhancements to this agency. This has been one of the concerns by the rating agencies and also investors. And then also, as I mentioned already, the San Joaquin would continue to support this agency. So the recommendation here today is to approve this agreement terminating the existing mitigation payment and loan agreement. And that concludes my report.
So may I have a motion and a second, and we'll move to discussion. I'm sure there's
So moved.
Thank you very much. Okay, discussion.
Sam Alvato.
Who just said Sam Alabato?
Christina Shea.
Oh.
Hello there, Sam. A little low talker today.
Wait a minute. So who has a comment or question? Is it-
I do,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Amy. Amy and I have had some discussions in the last couple of days about the whole refinance thing. And I understand that the fiduciary responsibility to this board is to the 241. However, as a whole, we want the success of all 73, 241, everything. We want everything to be successful and work and help everything. So I've got questions about the refinance. It seems like we continue to stretch these things out till the end of time. And is there any prospect for doing this refinance and keeping the end date the same as it is currently for the 73?
No. In order for the San Joaquin to meet their refinancing goals, which is to build a sustainable debt structure and also to remove some of the restrictions that they're under currently in their toll rate setting process. Right now, they're required to maximize their revenues, set toll rates as high as necessary. We would not be able to build a debt structure that we then could have rated investment grade, which is necessary for them to execute their refinancing transaction. Now, I want to point out, though, that in extending the debt, just similar to what this agency did, they will have the opportunity and the flexibility to use the additional cash flow in those later years to pay back that debt early, back to the original date. So it's very similar to what this agency did with their refinancing.
I get that, but we continue to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on surveys and such, and that will continue until the end of time also. Well, I'm sure the whole board got this chart that was passed out about the refinance, and it seems like the structure in place today right now allows for all the things you're talking about.
No, it does not. Basically, as I mentioned, the San Joaquin Hills right now, in accordance with their bond indentures and that, and based on that structure that you saw, they are required to maximize their revenues, and they do not have any cash flow because all of their excess cash flow goes into a toll stabilization fund that is used for future debt service. Plus, they don't have any cushion in order to meet their covenants and also to make their payments if the economy were to fluctuate such as it has in the past.
Well, by my calculations, Amy, that you said we're pretty close. The road builds up a total of $470 million in toll stabilization money over the next 10 years. That more than accounts for the $380 million that the road is going to lose in starting in 2025 for the next 10 years. So that road is still $90 million in the black under the current structure that is in place right now. So over the next 20 years, you're forecasting the road to be 90 million in the black, and then it goes enormously into the black. And
I'm going to let you finish that, but you need to understand, Director Baker, San Joaquin, which I am on, and some of the people on here are on San Joaquin, they already passed this. They approved it, and it's their refinancing. But your point is well taken, that we are an entire agency, and your desire, as is all of our desire, is that we make sure that both boards, both agencies, both Foothill Eastern and the 73 are financially solvent. The main reason that I supported this on San Joaquin is because this will hopefully, we have a much better chance of improving the bond ratings from junk or right below investment grade to investment grade, which is going to make a lot of difference. And San Joaquin, is that correct, Amy, or not? Is that right?
Yes.
I thought, no, wait a minute, she had this look on her face, and I thought I'm saying something wrong. So that's why, but San Joaquin approved the refinance. All we're asked to do is to look at, are we okay with the mitigation payment back, the terms of that? Are you saying, so?
Just,
I get that, Rhonda, and I think Amy's face, when you said the word junk, I think that probably,
Well,
you know.
I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah.
so direct, I'm sorry.
We're sensitive to that.
Yes.
I get, Rhonda, I get that. I'm just trying to, the whole idea of toll roads,
I know.
extending these tolls forever, just, when they don't have to, just bugs me, and I think it's wrong.
Point well taken.
And we get the $120 million back anyway.
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Director Smith? No? Any? Christine?
I'm sorry.
Director Shea, did you have any comments or
I have
questions?
no comment.
Really? Seriously? Amy, this is way too easy. All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Let's call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, we have one opposition. Rest are- Thank you very much, Amy. Okay. Item number 7, all electronic toll collection and revenue management system. Mike, are you gonna let her do it this time?
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning, I'm Patty Bond, I'm with Toll Operations, and I'm here before you to present report number 12. This is a staff recommendation to approve Resolution F 2014-6 for funding for amendment number 6 of the Transcorp contract, and that contract is for the all electronic toll collection and revenue management systems. TCA owns specific equipment that is part of the overall toll system operations, but is not the on-road toll system. Wendy, could you? This equipment was previously serviced and managed under the legacy toll system maintenance agreement. As you can see, it's equipment like the changeable message signs, the fiber optic networks, etc. And this equipment is integral to the part in the infrastructure of the toll system. After the completion of the AET conversion, TCA terminated the legacy toll system maintenance agreement. This equipment was under that maintenance agreement. So we did terminate the legacy maintenance agreement knowing that the new AET equipment is insured and would be warranted under the warranty agreement and the toll system maintenance agreement that would begin to start in December of 2014. So what we had here was a gap between the legacy maintenance agreement and the new maintenance agreement. And unfortunately, we overlooked at the time that this termination would not have continued the maintenance for the specific toll support equipment. This amendment will authorize funding for the continued technical and management systems for the toll support equipment during this interim period. Your approval will authorize funding for $669,120 for the Foothill agencies. This amendment also authorizes contract authority for spare parts, equipment, third-party services for over a period of 5 years. And I will be happy to answer any questions.
Directors, questions, comments of Ms. Bond? You got a good report. Very good, Patty. Thank you very much. That's it? No? Okay. Thank you very much for your report. We have a motion and a second. Is that right? Do we? No. All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Keep me honest. All right, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right, passes unanimously. And Patty, I guess you are doing the next one as
Yes,
well.
I am doing report number 14. During the recruitment process for hiring a candidate for the vacant position of the Chief Toll Operations Officer, staff recommends Mr. Rick Carrier to perform the duties at TCA as acting Chief Toll Operations Officer. Mr. Carrier has worked with TCA for 2 years under the strategic planning study and to the implementation of AET. And he has vast knowledge of our tolling system and our tolling operation. Mr. Carrier demonstrates superior work ethics and professionalism, and staff recommends a budget amendment approval to fund the Traffic Technology Inc. contract for Mr. Rick Carrier to perform his duties as acting Chief Operations Officer.
I'll make the motion to adopt staff recommendation, welcome on board if it goes through.
Do I have a second? Second by Director Easton. Okay. Discussion, comments, questions? You guys are making it way too easy. Okay, Patty, good job. Thank you very much.
All of it, we have to vote.
No, I know we haven't voted yet.
We have to
Thank you,
vote.
Craig. Call for the vote, please, and we, I spoke too soon. It's all right. Did we have a question over here?
No, we vote, we had a motion to say, we just have to
I'm
vote.
getting there, I'm getting
Okay.
there. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Patty. Passes unanimously. Okay, item number 9. And Joyce Hill is doing a report.
Good afternoon. The item before you requests authorization by the Foothill Eastern Agency to approve resolution number F 2014-08, amending fiscal year 15's budget by $543,540, execute amendment number 26 to 3M's contract, and authorize additional staffing through temporary employment agencies. These funds will be used to pay for 3M's overtime costs in the not to exceed amount of $72,360, temporary customer service staffing in the not to exceed amount of $430,140, and office equipment and furnishings in the not to exceed amount of $41,040. Overtime effort will assist in resolving the backlog in written customer correspondence, which will in turn help reduce calls. 10 of the 26 temporary CSRs are already in place, brought on under a routine business expense contract. 2 of these are assisting in our walk-in service center downstairs, with the other 8 working in our call center and customer relations team. The additional 16 will be joining the same big customer service team. Staff recommends approval of this resolution and contractual authorizations to support the current increase in customer service demands during our AET transition. And I can answer any questions you might have, or I'll try.
I'll make a motion to move the item.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? I'm going to have Director Puckett give the status from the toll operations ad hoc until, but any questions of Joyce, just stay close just in case, okay?
All right, we've had 2 ad hoc committee meetings, and I'll report on them. The Joint Toll Operations Ad Hoc Committee met on July 9th and received a staff report on the following topics: all electronic tolling projects update, AET conversations operations report, marketing update, customer service center procurement update, and upcoming contract amendments. The all electronic tolling report discussed the Portola Parkway northbound on-ramp reconfiguration, sign regime changes that occurred in June, and described the highway access radio options that staff are investigating. The AET operations report provided an update on transactions, revenue, account signups, violation activity, call center performance, and a review of the operational adjustments and enhancements that were implemented in June. Director Ming asked if call center projections were included in the modeling for AET. The AET modeling included a 14 FTE increase in the CSC staff to cover increased call volumes and other customer service activities. Director Ming asked about contracting a call center to add CSRs and phone lines. The option to contract with a remote call center is included in the CSC scope of work that is being developed as part of the CSC procurement. The marketing update reviewed the simplified marketing message discussed upcoming media buys, presented the information that was provided to car rental outlets and hotel concierge, and previewed the Spanish version of the website. The Customer Service Center procurement report summarized the progress of the CSC scope of work development. Staff presented information on contract amendments required to temporarily fill operations officer position and changes to the TransCore contract to fund legacy equipment maintenance. And the Joint Toll Operations Committee also met yesterday on August 13th, received a staff report on the following topics: all electronic tolling projects update, AET conversion operations report, upcoming contract amendments, and customer service center procurement update. The all electronic tolling report discussed the new signs that were deployed and results of the highway access radio research. Staff will prepare a recommendation to rent 2 highway access radio units, 1 for each corridor. The AET operations report provided a review of the operational adjustments and enhancements that were implemented in July and presented an action plan to reduce the number of calls and the overload calls in the call center. Staff briefed the committee on the contract amendments required to hire an additional 26 temporary employees to help manage the backlog in the customer service center. Changes to the TransCore contract to fund legacy equipment maintenance and temporarily fill the chief toll operations officer position. Staff also presented the updated customer service center procurement schedule. That's it.
Very good. Questions, comments? Yes, Director Boyd?
And Director Puckett's 26, you're asking for 16.
We already brought in 10 temps under a routine business expense contract, so they're already in place. Now we're asking for another 16, but this will put those all under the same contract, so it won't be a routine business expense.
Are we using Orange County or Orange County Employment Services for this, or who are we using?
We're currently working with Volt, but we're going to expand to other temp agencies as well, and Volt is just a half a block away from here.
Director Beal?
What would the negative consequences be if we didn't incur this expense and hire these people? I understand it would take longer to get through the backlog, but what do we perceive the real negative long-term consequence to be?
Well, I think it's just, if we discourage people from using our roads, so we could see it take a hit on our revenue. We're just getting the frustrated customers that are they're unaware of the need to use the one-time toll or to get an account. And so we just don't want to drive them away.
I think it's extremely important that we have the ability to respond to the people during this transition period in an educational way. And for that, it's going to take resources. Right now, in round numbers, if we get 10 to 12,000 calls a week, we dump about 7,000 of those, and so they're not even able to get through at a time when a lot of people have questions. So we want to increase the ability of our system to take more calls. We also want to increase our ability to answer their calls and respond. A lot of effort went into improving the website and our mobile app and all of our educational materials. So long term, we don't see this as a continuing need long term, that is something to help us through the transition period, to help the people who live in the region understand how to use our roads with the change that we made to our system. So I think it's important that they be able to get a hold of us and not raise a level of frustration in the community any further than a change normally would.
Can you refresh my memory? What was the projected annual savings that we were planning to receive from going to all electronic tolling?
Amy's probably got those numbers better than I would.
I know. So we are projecting between the two agencies in the 4 to 4.5 million savings annually. However, in the first year, we did expect no savings because we knew that we would have this transition period. So this is part of that expectation that we had. We just didn't know exactly how it would fall out as far as whether it was additional call center people or imaging but as far as our modeling goes, we were expecting the first year to result in zero savings.
And if I could, one final question. My recollection is that we think like 96% of the folks get it and are already on board and doing all that they should, so we're dealing with a relatively small percentage.
Except that the 4%, it's like on a daily basis, 96% figured out, and there's about 4% that don't. Unfortunately, that's a different 4% every day. So that 4% compounds over time with the new system until there's a broader understanding in the community.
And is there I know it's our hope, is it our expectation that we're going to get most of that 4% to become regular riders here, or are they one-time people that had an issue?
It's primarily infrequent users that's in that 4%, so it's important that our signage be right, that the information we provide them in any mailings that go out as a result of them using the road that are educational, so they're aware of what to do the next time.
Okay. Director Murphy was next. Yes, Director Murphy.
Oh, thank you. Just curious. Sorry. Have we thought about doing anything other than throwing bodies at this problem?
Well, we've made a lot of enhancements to our system and the website.
Such as?
The one-time toll is probably what we've spent the most time concentrating on because that's what's most often used by our infrequent users.
Right, but when you call in, has anything changed other than hoping you have more people to answer the phone?
Well, the online is allowing people now, instead of the 48 hours to pay their toll, we're giving them 7 days, which has helped a lot.
And I'm probably not asking the question the right way.
Mm-hmm.
The dial-in experience, the one that ticks off the vast majority of the people, the 7,000 people you're sending astray every week.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done anything to fix that other than try to throw bodies at it?
Yes, well, one of the things, I think the most effective thing that we're doing is adding additional T1 lines so that the people will get through and they won't get dumped off. It may mean a longer wait time, but we're evaluating that would be more preferable to not being able to get through if you get through. But a lot of what we do as we analyze things is what can we do to reduce the need for people to call in. So as an example, and we track why are people calling in, so we keep track of what they're doing. So for example, on the website, when they were going to do a one-time toll, we were hearing a lot that people didn't know where they were on the road. So part of what you have to do is tell us where you were. So we added an unknown feature, which now a lot of people just go to that, click it, take care of their business, and move on. So those are some of the ideas. The IVR system, we've made a lot of improvements to the IVR so that they can click through the automated functions as opposed to having to talk to a live person. And we continue to look at our website. We spent a couple days last week where we do this Google Analytics, and it's like these heat maps, so you see where people are going, and we're trying to understand where they're getting hung up. And then we've also improved on the wording in our mailers that we send to people, and we've got additional plans in place to improve the clarity of what is in the written word, so it's not raising a question. So we're constantly looking at that every week, ways we can take away the reasons that people.
Yeah, you want to satisfy it up front. Two things that seem kind of obvious that maybe you may want to explore if you haven't already. One, there's a really standard thing in the industry called a callback feature. Phone rings, hey, your average wait time is 2 hours and 47 minutes, but if you leave your number at the tone or you pound in your number, we'll call you back as soon as your place is up. That will routinely drop your call volume by 20-25%. Most people trust that feature, especially folks that are mobile, that have a mobile phone in their pocket, et cetera, et cetera. That's an obvious one that's cheap. You don't have to throw bodies at it, and works in virtually all environments. And that way, you also just set the back end of your call center up with a delivery device, so they're just sitting there with the next person that picks up the phone kind of situation, rather than worrying about some of the technology stuff. The other is your data analysis on the back end before your bills go out. I can tell you from personal experience, they don't cross-check because I got one. I got a new car
drove the route, forgot about it. My transponder didn't work at one of the toll plazas. Worked at the other one, which was strange. But rather than getting a note on a regular bill or just something that says, hey, we see you're a user, what happened with your transponder, it was the usual, you missed paying $350, so here's your $65 bill. And that just, to me, incites the frustration before they ever get on the phone. So to me, that's two areas we're missing, and quite candidly, throwing people on the back end is the last thing you do.
If I can explain what the situation that happened to you, we do actually take care of those situations. If there's an exact match with the DMV, we check the DMV. So if your vehicle was registered with a different name or address,
It wasn't.
it has to be like an exact, and then we'll just automatically add it to your account and then notify you.
Yeah, because
And then just pay the
that
toll
should
over
take
as a
that
pay
should
by-
take some up, and you know, it's no big deal from a personal standpoint, but I'm just trying to think of places up front so you're not. I mean, the most expensive thing to do is throw bodies at it, and it's the least productive way. The fewer bodies and the more you can automate the process, the better off you are in the long haul in terms of customer satisfaction, because nobody really wants to talk to somebody to figure this out, or very few people. They just want to get it solved. And you know, the callback feature especially, I think if you're not looking at it, you should look at it. It's just a flip of a switch, and you just it will make your folks probably raise their productivity 15 or 20%.
Okay.
And people are happier when you do get them on the line, rather than the stalwarts that wait for an hour.
Yeah. No, all good suggestions, and we will note those, and our efforts are to try and identify ways, not just throw bodies, so we hear you.
Yes, Director Boyd.
Yes. How many people do we have in the call center now, and where is the call center?
It's downstairs where our walk-in center is, and there's to the side, there's a whole large room. And we currently have about 50, I think 51 and a half for the call center and what we call the customer relations team, which are the folks that reply to the email, emails and web disputes. So this will take that number up to the 67 and a half people with an additional 16.
On these temporary workers that you have coming in, what is the longevity, your projected time
We
you
actually
need them?
have some temporary employees that are working for 3M. They're not actually 3M employees. They bring them on as temps also that have been here for a couple years.
The
So
budget before you today is for 6 months.
yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just for the 6 month.
What kind of training do they go before they answer the phone? Because obviously they're the face that these troubled callers are
Yes.
getting into. What
We
kind of
go
training?
through 3 weeks of kind of intensive training. So it is a good program.
And how much room do we have for more expansion on call center down there?
That's the situation that we have to deal with. We're probably going to have to set up these folks in perhaps the committee room or another conference room. So
You're maxed out in the call center
Yes.
downstairs.
Mhm.
So
And
you have
parking places,
you have room
by
for
the way.
50 operators, so to
Yes.
speak. Not to further.
Other questions, comments?
I guess I'm just curious, just to kind of follow on, why are we locating them here? Why not just go to a professional service that does this for a living, put the scripts together, and the mundane calls send them that direction? There's a lot of
And
groups
we thought
that
about
do
that.
that.
We're actually, we're getting ready to go out for an RFP for the customer service center contract soon. And that's one of the things that we are going to include, is to have an overload call center for, situations like this, so that when, as needed, they would be able to help pick up the phone and handle situations. But under the current contract, this is the way it's, set up.
Director Murphy, just to make one comment about that. I had a friend that was from Northern California, went to visit her parents in Temecula, came over here to visit me, and took the toll road. She's very observant. She's like really brilliant and all that kind of stuff. She had no idea she was on the toll road. Okay, so as I actually walked through the process with her going through our website, and as we were walking through, she started saying, what about this and what about that? But when I talked to Joyce at one of the meetings, it might have been one of the toll ops, there's almost no mundane call, especially if they're calling to complain. That's the problem. I mean, and I've been in a call center before. I've managed a call center. The training alone just to get fully trained is about 3 weeks, but you put them on the board
Right.
after how many days of training?
After typically a couple weeks, they'll sit with another person and listen in on the calls. And then we start them with callbacks and things like that are, easier to than the incoming, where a person says, I need to add a vehicle, but then it turns out that they have a violation because their account was suspended, and it's always, more complex than what just appears to the customer. So
Yeah.
we ease them into actually, the simpler things before we give them the full-blown situations.
Yeah, and your points are well taken, Mark. I mean, it really, seriously.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's fine. I think we're making it more difficult than it needs to be. And I think we're also attacking it the simple way rather than the smart way. And that's just my own personal thing. No disrespect to anybody involved. It's just, what I just heard is the bodies we're spending 600 grand for won't be doing anything for us for another 6 weeks. And so I think there are other things you can do to get to the problem faster so we don't continue to flog ourselves with this 4% as you reference on it. I'm just concerned of permanent damage, because there will be people that say, I don't care if it takes me 15 minutes longer, I'm not going to deal with the bureaucracy, and I'll just leave my comments at that.
Right, and Mike, you had said that you will look into what the suggestions that Mark has made. So within that time frame of adding on these people, because what I'm certain will happen is we'll need all of these people to just actually dig us out of a hole. But maybe we dig out of a hole sooner, rather than the 6 or 8 months, it'll be maybe 4 months or something like that, with the additional items that Director Murphy has suggested. So, but I think points well taken. Yes, Tony, did you have? Yes, Director Beal.
I was thinking more about what you said in response to my earlier question, that the people that are calling are primarily very infrequent users or first-time users. Is that going to continue to be the case, so that although this is only a 6-month plan, are we going to find that this is a perpetual problem, that we're always going to have infrequent users, and we're going to have an expectation that we're always going to have people calling like this and have to incur this type of additional expense?
That hasn't been the experience at other agencies, but it's probably not that percentage changes a lot. But we have a lot of new account holders who are, dealing with us for the first time. We have a lot more accounts because we've had a lot more signups. So the routine business aspect of it is where we'll see the greatest reduction over time, as we put things in place that deal with the repetitive and just the education of the new people using the system. But there will be a background noise of the infrequent users that we're gonna, with the data that we manage, that we're trying to get a hand on to see what is the appropriate level of long-term staffing, or what are the correct systems to have in place to deal with that.
Just given that it's a relatively big number that we're talking about, before you call for a vote, I'm just interested in hearing some impressions from board members here about whether you think this is money well spent and why.
Okay. Yes, Director Bartlett.
I think that we're finding that this is probably an interim type of deal. It's a spike because of the implementation of all electronic tolling. And after we get through this for a number of months, where people are used to what we've got going on here with regard to the cashless system, I think we'll probably be able to go back to our normal staffing hours and staffing levels as well. So I think that should take place, hopefully after the 6-month period, I would anticipate.
Other comments? Yes, Director Puckett.
I'm comfortable with this.
Any other comments? And Director Bill, the one good thing out of this that Joyce shared, or that Amy shared, is that we were smart enough not to take the annual savings in the first year. That we said we are not taking those annual savings, pushing that out, which is typically, I have been in many situations where that's what the higher ups are looking for, is the savings, and they want them now, and then it's really a problem. So at least we don't have that issue to deal with, and I appreciate that. It is a difficult issue, there's no way around it. Yes, Director Alabado, Vice Chair.
The impact or the input that I've had from folks was that when they one-time use and they were from out of town, they didn't know where they got on and they didn't know where they got off because they're not familiar with the roads. They didn't know and they were being asked that. And as the CEO mentioned, they've corrected that one issue, but that one issue was creating a lot of consternation for people because, you know, they don't remember the next day. They go online and they go, well, geez, I've never, was it La Paz or was it, you know, whatever, Alicia? They don't know the streets. And that I think has corrected it to the point where they can go online and do the unknown button and then take care of it and not call in. That's one improvement I know that you mentioned, but I think needs to be highlighted a little bit.
Other comments? Yes, Director Baker.
Yeah, and Sam, to your point, it seems odd that we hired a consultant, paid him an enormous amount of money, and those kind of things have never cropped up before and should have been taken care of in the plan. I mean, it's amazing to me that so many of these things must have happened to other agencies that have done this, and you know, why didn't that get taken care of? It's frustrating. That's.
In your points, well taken, Director Baker. One of the things that's different about Southern California, quite honestly, is we are a tourist destination. Where is all this happening? In the prime vacation time. So, you know, I agree with you, but that's what's happening. I mean, you talk about all of the people that I mean, I'm getting, just so you know, I'm getting phone calls and I'm getting emails as the chair. I'm going, how did they find me? And then I was on the phone for over an hour and a half with somebody in Oregon who had, and it was a simple mistake. It was a human error that one of our reps had misread one letter off of the license plate. It was just a very simple mistake. But, and actually when the gentleman found out that it was a simple mistake, he was fine with that, but he thought it was a scam. He thought the whole thing was a scam. He got this violation notice. He goes, I've never been in Southern California.
We were notified in Irvine too.
I'm sorry?
The same email came to Irvine and we had to, we responded to him.
Yeah. Did you spend an hour and a half on the phone?
I don't do that.
Anyhow, any other comments?
Okay, we call for the question, and instead of asking for 67 people, we'll ask for 66 and have Rhonda serve as an extra one person.
Thanks, Greg, in my spare time.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Yes, then let's have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, vote passes unanimously. And we are moving forward. So we are now at our Chief Executive Officer's report.
Okay, we will provide our monthly traffic and revenue report. Dave Lowe.
Good morning. This is the traffic and revenue report for July of 2014. Next slide, Wendy. What we're looking for in this chart is for the red bars, which are the current actuals, to be above last year's actuals for July. So you can see that we did have a small increase in July. Had a little decrease in June, but these are the transaction numbers. The green number is the projection, so we're slightly below that projection. Next slide. This is a percent change of transactions year over year. So while the trend seems to be declining, the 0.3% is actually a growth over last July. So we do see an increase in traffic. Actually, we forecast about 0.9% growth over the year, and we anticipate that it'd be a little smaller in the beginning of the year, but it would average out to be about 1% over the entire year. Next slide. This is revenue, and same concept. We're looking for the red bars to be above the blue bars, and we're just about the same as our projected revenues for this month. Next slide. And this is, again, the year-over-year change. We do have an increase in revenue over last year, slightly up from June, but as I did want to make sure you understood that this is, while it's a decline in the rate, it's still an increase over revenues from last year. This is a breakdown by month for each one of the toll transactions by the type of transaction. So we have about 85% using Fast Track system, 3.9% on express account, and you can see the other numbers. Couple items, typically in the summer months, we have a decrease in the fast track traffic simply because we have a lot of people from out of the area or don't use the system on a regular basis. So you see a little dip there in the fast track numbers. You can also see an increase in the one-time toll numbers, and we're very interested in keeping that program going. And this is the replica for the revenue type. It's pretty much mirrors the same thing as the transactions. That concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Any questions, directors? No? Okay, thank you. Chief Engineer Lowe, and you have another report for us?
Yes, I do. We have the all-electronic tolling update, and Director Puckett stole a lot of my thunder, so I'll try to go through this pretty quickly.
That's what I was trying to do.
I actually have photos, though.
Oh, wow.
This is a photo of the new Portola Parkway, Irvine, northbound on-ramp. This is the on-ramp that very few of you have probably ever used, but it used to go through the cash lanes at Tomato Springs northbound. So these people were forced to stop at the toll plaza, even though they were just getting onto the highway. We've subsequently directly attached this to the main line, and those people do not no longer have to go through the cash lanes to access the 241 North. A number of things that we've completed since the last board meeting. We've updated changeable message signs, the messages on those. We've also worked with Caltrans. They've allowed us to use a number of their message boards that are off the system to let people know what's happening with the toll road system and how cash booths are closed. We're no longer accepting cash at the toll booth. So we really do appreciate Caltrans working with us on that. We've implemented some portable signs at Windy Ridge and Catalina View. And we've also worked with Orange County Public Works. They do a lot of our maintenance work, and they've installed quite a number of signs off the system and on the system. And we're working on some other sign issues. Next slide. We do have guardrail that's been put across the cash lanes, so it doesn't allow any people to cheat and go through there. We've installed truck lane stencils to try to simplify that for the people who are going up and down the hills at Windy Ridge. We've worked with the rental car companies at John Wayne Airport, and we're also reaching out to other airports in the area to try to distribute materials that'll help get the new message about the new system out to people. We've updated a tourism brochure that's gone out, and we've launched a Spanish website. And then we're doing operational enhancements, as Director Alvarado had mentioned, to the one-time toll website to make it simpler and easier for people to understand. And we still have some sign work to do. We're also looking at a system where we can actually broadcast a message that would explain the toll system, the new toll system, to people who are on the road. So we're looking at trying to implement that very quickly. And then we're also adding phone system capacity to try to allow our customers to have a better response when they call in. Here's our account growth over the last year, and it shows that we still have a pretty regular stream of fast track customers, but our express account are growing quite significantly. And the next chart actually shows the year-over-year percentage change in the the level of accounts. So in the next, or since 80 days, we've gone about 80 days since the AT conversion, and we have about 800 new accounts signups per day. It's quite a few, and about 4,500 one-time toll payments per day. And we continue to see an increase in the web use and the mobile app use. So we're glad we have that system, because if not, we'd have a lot more people calling in. Next slide. We've been discussing what to do after Labor Day, and the thought is right now we would continue to have our first time violations program that we have, where we waive the fees for the first 7 days, and then and also continue to work with Caltrans on getting those messages out on the road so people know what's going on, and then continue to emphasize the people who are using the system to try to sign up for an account. And we will continue the program post Labor Day, and we'll be looking at the various data that we've been talking about to see if there's anything else we can do to make it a more customer-friendly system. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments? Yes. Director Boyd?
I like the 7-day grace period, but there's a caveat. They have to sign up and register the license plate with us, correct?
Not currently. It's actually, for the first-time violators, they have up to 30 days to pay their toll. What we're going to do is we're looking at additional emphasis to get people to sign up for a specific account, because that will be the long-term solution. The 7-day grace period is really for the one-time toll, which it reads, within 48 hours, but we're allowing within 7 days, and we continue to look at the data to see what is the right amount of time to allow people to come on and properly do a one-time toll. But we are going to have a new emphasis, particularly on the notice 2s or the notice 3. So if they get a violation notice and then it rolls to a next level violation, that's where we're going to put the emphasis on still forgiving that, but only if they sign up for an account. So we're kind of looking into those nuances as we go into the post-Labor Day situation.
All right. One more thing. With the rental companies that you've been working with toward John Wayne Airport, are they signing up with their license plates? Has that been successful? Obviously, they don't need transponders because they just need the license plate now. So are we getting license plates from the rental companies?
Well, there's a couple different programs with rental car agencies, and some we have actual programs with where you can actually get a transponder in your car. But what we've been doing at John Wayne Airport is making sure all the rental agencies are aware of the one-time toll payment so that they can let their people who are driving here know, first of all, there are toll roads in Orange County, so be aware of that. And second of all, we have cards that they can give to their customers that if they do drive on the road, they can pay online after the fact. There is, I think, Avis. If you rent with Avis, you can get a transponder. And we are working with another, I think Enterprise is in the works from negotiation to have a program with Enterprise. So they're all kind of at different levels, but our number one goal with reaching out to John Wayne is just make sure that all the desks are informing the people renting cars that are traveling through this area that there are toll roads and how they work. And that will expand to other airports throughout the region.
Questions, comments? Okay. Thank you, Chief Engineer Lowe. And you have another one.
I do have another one. This
You
is more
are
of an engineering
really
one.
the man of the hour. So on the 241 paving project, should be really interesting, huh?
Well, Caltrans is planning a paving project on the 241 actually starting in the next several weeks, and it extends from Antonio Parkway on the southern limit to Portola Parkway north, the ramp that you just saw. Next line. So here's a map of the paving project that they plan on working on. And next slide. Here's some specifics about the project. It's a federally funded project for preservation of the pavement. The funds are specifically used on only good roads that are having some oxidation, and I'll explain why Caltrans likes to do that. It's about a $4 million contract. They're putting about 1/10 of asphalt on the existing, which is about 1.25 inches. Typically nighttime work from 10 to 5 p.m., so most people won't actually know it's happening. There will be full freeway closures. Both the contractors planning on paving the southbound lanes first and then turning around going northbound.
Full freeway closures from 10 to 5?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the start date is supposed to be August 25th, while paving will probably start right after Labor Day. And the contractor currently estimates they'll be done by Thanksgiving. To talk about the types of repairs Caltrans likes to do, the preservation, the blue box, is actually the preservation they're doing with this project. If you look at the curved line, this is what happens to pavement over the years. It actually happens with my body as well, as I've experienced, that the deterioration happens over years. And Caltrans' thought is to continue to do some preservation projects at a low cost and extend the life of the project rather than to wait to the red box at the very right and to do a full pavement reconstruction of the road. So I'm sure you deal with this in your cities as your city engineers are talking about overlays and things like that. So next slide. So this is the thought that instead of waiting until the project deteriorates to a place where you have to do reconstruction, they actually do small projects on occasion to extend the life of the pavement. And the next slide. So this is our system for the Middle Eastern system. First section was opened in 1993. Now my son was 2 years old in 1993, and this summer he just recently graduated from college. So that portion of the road has been there quite a bit. Now the last time it was overlaid was in 2007 in the northbound direction. So it's been 7 years since then. And the southbound direction was actually paved back in 2003, so that's been more than 10 years. So Caltrans likes to do this, and we really do appreciate them maintaining the pavement because while we do have some issues on some areas, overall the pavement is pretty good on our system, and we appreciate them doing the, standard, keeping the pavement in good order so that our customers can have a good drive. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about this.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lowe. The issue of rubberization, is that a new concept? Because it's more expensive, I know, to layer a rubberized material. And I know it lasts a lot longer, though. So is this something new? And you may want to consider this for yourself as well.
I actually hadn't thought about that.
Well, he brought it up. He mentioned that he felt like he was going down here like the road. Maybe we all could get rubberized, but just asking the question in regard to that.
I do actually use a wetsuit when I go surfing. So
Well, there you go. You could leave it on longer during the day. So, so again, about that, it's interesting because I know it does allow the road to last longer, having those overlays on it. So, is this new? Has it been going on for some time?
It's been around at least a decade. I know that. So, but it also has the reuse value of using the recycled tires and things like that into the pavement. So there is some benefits in that way as well. But it's more elastic. It stretches a little bit better under the weight of the wheels, but also rebounds. And the open graded that we're doing, that Caltrans is using, has some great benefits as far as drivability. Keeps the tire splash down. Actually has some water quality benefits in it as well that filters some of the pollutants out. So we really appreciate all the work they're doing as far as keeping our roads up to good condition.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Our CEO?
That concludes the CEO.
You are finished. Okay, so director's reports and new business. I will just go ahead and read the mobility report out. Mobility Ad Hoc met last Wednesday on August 6th. We discussed the status of the Tesoro extension and the State Water Board permit appeal process, as the decision will be made on October 3rd. We also reviewed the long-range planning strategy for the future of the 241 beyond Cow Camp Road and discussed the mobility workshop that is scheduled for September 22nd. Mr. Richard Harris from NOSSMN briefed us on the status of the bills we're supporting and monitoring in Sacramento. And then Susan Lent from Aiken Gump in DC provided an update on the federal transportation bill. Mike Cramen has been invited to testify before the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee on September 9th. The subject of the hearing will be the challenges infrastructure projects face with the environmental streamlining process. All right. All right. Any other comments from our directors before I have former chair Lisa Bartlett come down the front and meet me?
Are we having a closed session?
No, we are not.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes. Any other? Yes, Director Baker?
Yes, thanks. I was expecting a report from Mike on the audit that went on for the last couple of days. Were there any discussions about that?
Yes, the agency received a request from the JLAC committee in Sacramento that they were considering auditing the agency. So I was up there on Tuesday and met with committee members and actually presented some information. Interestingly, they were unaware that the state treasurer and CDAC had audited the agency within the last year. Basically, when we were able to answer their questions and provide the information, they pulled the request, so we're not being considered for an audit now.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No?
I have one more question, Ron. Sorry.
Director Baker, you're getting your month's work.
Well, there are an awful lot of things listed under closed session, existing litigation. When are we going to get an update on those?
At the board's pleasure.
At the board's pleasure?
Yeah, if you'd like, we can provide an update at the next meeting.
Okay. Would that be okay?
It is, but those are placeholders in case items come up that need to be discussed. They're on the agenda.
Right. Okay. All right, is that okay with you, Director Baker, next time? Okay. Any other questions, requests, comments? No? Okay. Former Chairwoman Bartlett, would you please meet me down front?